Hello everyone, in today's video we'll be taking on the 3 alpha bosses on the island. We're going to be starting off with the Broodmother, and then we'll be tackling the Monkey Man and then the Dragon. Now I do believe the Monkey Man is significantly easier than the Broodmother, so we should technically be doing him first, but we do have a bone to pick with the Broodmother, as we actually lost to the Broodmother, the Beta Broodmother, in our previous boss video using the Ceratosaurus. So I wanted to go through and try and prove a point here and take the Broodmother on. Now, the setup here is slightly different than the last fight that we had here. We've got 2 Rexes still for our tanks. They do have some mutations in health as well. Not really focus on their melee, as I want the Ceratosaurus to be the star here. And then, of course, we do have the Utyrannus for its buff. And then this time around, we actually brought a Daeodon as well. However, I did make a mistake here. The Daeodon here is fresh out the womb, and I had actually forgotten to level the Daeodon up. So unfortunately, the Daeodon does actually end up dying in this boss fight here. That was a pretty big oversight on my part. But yeah, the Daeodon makes a very, very big difference. I have found out, though, just transparently from the get-go, so you all know, the self-healing for the Ceratosaurus is not sufficient enough for any of the 3 alpha fights. If you look at the damage numbers here that the alpha is putting up, you can see that it's, in the thousands, 800, 900. And then it takes a couple of seconds for that healing proc to even go off. Let's see, we'll count the seconds here. So we got our Courage Roar here. There is 1 heal, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I think roughly 15 seconds in between those healing procs. And of course, the Broodmother is hitting them the entire time, and that heal proc is only generating between 300 to 500 health recovery for all of the dinosaurs there that are in that explosion. So obviously, if we're looking at the Broodmother's damage numbers between 800 and 1200, obviously that healing is just not efficient enough to be able to do anything. And I do believe at this point in the fight, the Daeodon had actually already died. However, I will tell you that I tried this alpha fight once before without the Daeodon. I ended up losing the fight, and we got pretty close to winning, but the Daeodon actually makes a significant difference. The health recovery is not enough to sustain for the majority of the fight, so you will definitely want to bring a pig. Honestly, I would recommend probably 2 just to be safe. As in the original fight here, I actually had saddles. I had saddles between roughly, I think it was 62 for, how many do I have here? I think 17 Ceratosaurus, because I've got, 16 actually, because I've got 2 Rexes that I down in the Uti. So I had the 62 armor saddle from a blueprint for, I think, 13 of them, and then I had 3 other saddles that I'd managed to find that were just above 70, and I had lost the fight without having the pig. Now, as you can see here, obviously, we do end up winning the fight against the Broodmother. However, that pig, even though they did die, made a significant difference. All right, now let's move on over to the Monkey Man and see how things play out. All right, now we have worked our way over to the snow biome here, and we are taking on the big boss monkey. And like I mentioned, this fight is significantly easier than the Broodmother, so as you can expect, it does go pretty well. But again, I highly encourage you bring a Daeodon, as simply put, the Ceratosaurus's self for passive healing. It's not necessarily passive, but the healing ability is not sufficient enough for alphas. I want to stress that. They do a decent amount of damage, but honestly, I didn't test this, and it would have been a lot bit more time to do this. But I have a strong feeling that allos are probably better than the Ceratosaurus when it comes to boss fights because of the bleed damage. The healing is more of a defensive or support type ability, and they're not really getting, these massive bleed damage numbers in. And, somebody like the Allo does have that, and so I would say that's significantly better for the fight. Now, I will say that this monkey fight here, he was being a little stubborn, so for those of you that, are not familiar with the monkey fight, you obviously want to lure him over here. There may be a lot of people who already know that, but basically the reason for it is there's a bunch of edges the monkey can knock you off of. And the goal is if you can just get him back here where there's a bunch of barriers and you're stuck on the wall here, that he actually has no way to knock you off, so you tend to have a lot less casualties, as the biggest problem with the monkey is actually his knockback, whereas his damage hurts, but it's not nearly as bad as the Broodmother's damage. But yeah, he was being a bit stubborn, so Usually the best goal here is he can be quite fast, so usually you just want to take your Utyrannus or fast creature over here and essentially lure him out. But he was hiding out in his domain up there. I kind of just tried to bait him out and to kind of make him mad, let him know that the fight had started and I was waiting on him. But yeah, we did start the fight here, and he was getting pretty close to me, and I did not like that, as that boulder really hurts. But you basically want to just try and get him in this corner here, and if you do, it's pretty easy because he's not going to move around too much, and your team can kind of just go hard and just kind of go to town on him. But yeah, those boulders hurt. You do want to make sure that, obviously you're on a mount, because if that hits you, that will kill you right away. I believe there used to be a glitch where it could kill you on the mount. I don't know if that's still a thing. Fortunately, I did not encounter that. It's been a while since I've fought the monkey. Usually the brood test, or the Broodmother, is kind of my test boss fight for the majority of creatures, because the monkey is not really much of a test. He's kind of a pushover in comparison to both the Broodmother and the dragon. So, yeah, as you can expect, this fight goes fairly well. So just a recap here, since we win the fight. I'll tell you that right now. We win the fight. For the Broodmother fight, though, since I did that one first, I want you to know that I did suffer a couple of casualties. We obviously lost the pig. In this fight, I did get the new pig and get them leveled up, as I did not want to have a repeat there. And then, also, I forgot the Ceratosaurus actually have some mutations as well. Quite a few of them, actually. So, the Ceratosaurus have roughly 30k health, and they are sitting around, I think it's 850% melee. But as you can see, the damage we're doing roughly 400, 500 damage. I think we're getting a couple of 700s, and I'm not sure if that's the Rex. I'm not sure who's doing that damage number, to be honest with you. Maybe one of these was my melee Rexes. I thought they were both health, but yeah, it's pretty easy for the monkey here. But there was like 6 or 7 of the Ceratosaurus after the Broodmother fight who had less than 1,000 health. And then, of course, we also lost a few as well. So we basically would have lost half our team, in another matter of seconds. So I highly encourage that second pig for sure. Or, of course, make sure your pig's leveled up and don't pull a big dum-dum like me. All right, well, moving on here, let's go take a look at the dragon fight, the third and final alpha boss for the island, not including the Overseer. Alright, now if you guys are enjoying the video so far, then please consider leaving a like and subscribing if you're not already. Alright, now we have made it to the fiery land of the dragon's domain here, and we are hoping for the best in this third and final alpha fight. Of course, this is always the most intimidating fight here on the island, outside of, I guess, the alpha overseer. But yeah, the dragon is a menace and a royal pain. Of course, you do want to go through and avoid his fireballs when and where possible, as they can be pretty lethal. I was trying to get my tames to kind of hide behind these pillars, hoping that they could essentially block some of the fireballs. Eventually, he does rain in chaos on us, but the pillars can actually block the fireballs, so that's a great way to try and avoid them early on. But because the fireballs can also damage you as the player as well, and you need to be careful of that. Otherwise, of course, you can immediately get knocked out, even if your teams are still alive. Now, there's a little bit of luck here at the dragon, of course, because you do want them to land, and when you have larger creatures, they don't always land, so that's definitely an issue. And then if you stay in one spot for too long, of course, as well, like you notice, I just got the fireball to the face, and my armor immediately broke, and I lost half my health. So not only are you susceptible to the fire attacks and having your armor break in that capacity, but the other thing you also need to pay attention to that I actually kind of did not pay attention to in this fight, and it almost cost me my life, was the Dimorphodons, as they can attack you while you're on your mount. So you also have to focus on some of the ad spawns, and we'll have to kill some on your Utyrannus or your Uti, because if you do not, you will certainly die. Now you do want to stay back a little bit, as that fire attack does have quite a bit of range, and you can see it is completely destroying their health. This is a great reason as to why the Therazinos are probably the best for the dragon, or one of the best. I believe the mammoths are pretty good as well, but just because the herbivores do not take that damage. But I mentioned earlier that self-healing is like every 15 seconds. Well, this fire attack is just literally destroying, their health, and we're watching one after another drop. And there goes another one too. Dragon's just going to town. And yeah, our herd is getting real thin. And even with this buff, we are not doing enough. And we have the pig too. I think the piggy died already though. Yeah, he definitely died. And there goes a Rex, and we got just a couple of guys left. So if you guys could not tell, this fight does not go in my favor. We do lose this one. Like I mentioned, basically the whole purpose of this whole testing was not to try necessarily beat the alphas, but to test the full capacity of the healing of the Ceratosaurus, and we did manage to do it on both the Broodmother and the monkey here, but even with the pig and some decent level saddles, we were not successful here on the dragon fight, as he just deals far too much damage, and the healing on them really is not the best. So I would say overall, when it comes to rating these creatures, the Ceratosaurus, I think, yep, and there's a fireball that ends my life. Yep, that's exactly what I was talking about. So I think that was a good way to go out there, because, we were going to die either way. But, yeah, so when it comes to the Ceratosaurus, I think they're a great mid-game dino. You could definitely use them for some boss fights, but is it worth investing into them for a boss fight? I'm gonna say probably not. But I do think they're very fun. They look amazing, as you can see. Obviously, look at this one. This mutations I got on this guy was absolutely amazing. They look great. I think they're a great addition, especially because they're now a part of the base game of ARK. That's really, really cool. But if I were you, I would not invest the time to take them into the boss fight, unless, of course, you're just looking to switch things up. But if you do want to know who I think currently are the best 10 tames in all of ARK, then I recommend you check out this video.